I'm back on this side-by-side plate again. It's not really astronomy weather out there. We've had this persistent rain for days and days and days. And one of these days it'll clear up, so I'd like to have this ready to go. Now, I watched a few more videos, particularly about this lens and astrophotography. Astro Backyard, I think, and nebula photos, and also a young guy, Felix's Astronomy, I think his channel is, who's been using this lens, and I was actually being a little reserved about, or reluctant to put more time into making something particularly or kind of specifically for this lens, since not having tried it out, I wasn't sure whether it was worth it. But having seen what all three of them have done with this lens, I think, yeah, okay, it'd be worth putting a little bit more work into it. One of the things that they mentioned, both nebula photos and backyard astronomy, I think they're the channel names, mentioned that this is got a real problem with, you can accidentally, mine's not doing it so much, but this will push in and you can lose focus. And to stop that from happening, if you lock this, and they were locking it this point here where it turns, they were locking it with putting tape on there. And I'm not a fan of that sort of solution. Insulation tape has its place, and that's insulating wires. There's another thing I'm going to change if I unscrew this. I realised with this setup that I can't remove the camera from this dovetail plate without removing the dovetail plate, or at least I have to take the dovetail plate off, and then I can unscrew that plate. And if I want to take the camera off to transport it, that's not a big pain, but it's a pain that I've got to put back together again. If I drill all the way through this plate, it's only a matter of putting the hole through here. I can get a longer bolt, and that way I can just take that one bolt out, and these two parts stay together. This block and the dovetail plate stay together. So I'll do that. What I'm thinking is, if I mill through this along these tracks from maybe 20 mil back here or something, and all the way along here on both sides with a 6 mil or 6.5 mil slot, maybe 6, because I've got a 6 mil cutter. I could widen it, but I won't, I think. But if I put 2 slots in, that gives me the ability to slide stuff along, and then I can make up a piece that's like I was talking about before on my previous video about this. If I make up a piece that goes underneath here, but I've got to wrap around, like I've got a ring around here, and then I use 3 nylon screws, and I think I'd go top and here at each of them at 120 degrees. Then I can lock this at the focal length by tightening those 3 nylon screws up a little. They wouldn't have to be super tight, and then you've got the added benefit of avoiding any sag and I was talking about I can feel that there's a slop in there. That might be the whole point. That slop, you can take that out by holding that. So it'd have the double benefit of locking the focus. When I set the focal length, I could lock that focal length with those 3 screws, and I'd double with the benefit of supporting that lens. So I'll have a crack. So far in all this building stuff, I've been assuming that people watching my channel have a clue what a milling machine is. So for those that don't know, this is a very small milling machine. I used to work machines that were bigger than the room I'm standing in. But this spindle here, you can put that in and out, or you can wind the whole head down. And on this particular machine I've installed, well, on here, I don't know whether you can see, but as you move that handle, it's reading off, and I've got this readout here. And as I wind the machine, I've got it locked at the moment, I can see the position I'm in. It updates as I wind this handle, it's updating that position. The astronomy weather continues out there. It's been absolutely bucketing down. My daughter used to live in this room, and sometimes you get water in her carpet. Now, it's not a big deal for me, but I think we've got a bit of water coming in here, underneath that wall there. So, joy oh joy. It's absolutely bucketing down out there. Well, it was a minute ago. Anyway, so back to this. I've drilled that hole through, and I've put these slots in. Now, unfortunately, I did something that I never ever should do. I dropped that vise back onto the mill, and I thought to myself, I need to clock that up so it's true, and I didn't. And I was wondering why a few things weren't quite right, and you'll see down along here, on this side here, a little bit of an undercut for a mill. That was because I wasn't square. So I got my dial indicator out, squared it up, and no one will ever know except for you and me. Annoying, but not fatal. Anyway, so now I can put this back together and not have to worry about I've got a dodgy old screw, but I want to get a stainless one. But right now I can put it together, and this way I can just screw that block onto this, and I don't have to worry about pulling the camera off. It's going to be easy to do. Alright, after a bit of drawing on my CAD program, I use QCAD, which is free on Linux. You can buy it for Windows. But anyway, this is what I've decided to make. So this is the dovetail plate here. So this piece is going to be just come up around like that, and then down and across here. I haven't drawn them, but M6 holes for those screws. This is not size for size. That's 103 is 150, so it's about 30% over. So that'll give me plenty of thread for this, because the lens is there's a 6mm gap all the way around between this and the lens, so that should be enough to hopefully accommodate. And these holes are in line with these slots that I've now put into the plate, so I can put this onto that plate and then put screws up through here into the slots, and M6, and I can lock it anywhere along those slots. I can lock it. So I reckon that's going to be a start. So let's see what I can find to make it out of. Righto, so rough plate cut out. I'll square that up. I think I'll just actually square it to size, even though most of it's going to be radius. And that way it just gives me more to keep an eye on, more reference. I have to say, that took a lot longer than I thought. That, I did it with a hole saw. This thing here, and I think it's pretty well blunt. There's that one. And it really didn't want to cut. Yeah, that's really blunt. And that little drill press doesn't have much grunt, and that's what I did it on. So anyway, I wore it away. I ended up drilling holes all around the circumference to give it a bit of a chance, but I got through. So now I've got to take it out to that line, and I think I'm going to do this. I'll do this with my micro head on the inside, and I was planning, it's going to be all very fancy, and use my goes that way, use my milling machine with this radius cutting, but it's going to take a bit of time. So I think I'll just kind of bite that away mostly with the bandsaw. We'll see how we go. Okay, so that's now drilled and tapped and milled the little step on it. So now I just got to rough out this last bit of the ring and should be done. Okay, so here it is, finished. And so I've got my 3 little bits. It locks this as I anticipated it would. And to unlock it, you just wind these off, and you can take your focus to wherever it needs to be. When they're unlocked, they just come straight out, and just twist it back on, and there it is, locked and supported. So let's put it onto the mount. So there she is. So there she is. A mark on there. Clean that off, but it'll get marked. But I think that's going to be quite firm, and the focus is still available. But what can you do? I'm not going to lock that. Can't see how to do that easily. But there she is. I might clean up this plate here and put the whole thing through anodizing. Never done anodizing at home before, but always a first time. So there we go.